This is King Noble, Black Supremacy. With this particular video, I want to talk about Charlene Lyles, a pregnant black goddess that was shot by the Seattle police. Very interesting story. Two things I get from this story. One, a black woman who's unable to align herself with a black man to offer that true sense of protection can find themselves in a perpetual panic attack, feeling unsafe all the time. High level of insecurity. That's one thing that I see. That's one piece that stood out for me. Because we know that Charlene Lyles did not feel very safe and secure in the situation that she was in. Now, she called the police. It was a burglary call, an attempted burglary, as it was reported. The Seattle police came, and even though she called the police, she was still somewhat in a state of insecurity, holding a knife, in a state of panic or fear. The police, being the cowards that they are, with their true job is not to catch burglars, solve burglary crimes. Their true job in the black community is to murder and kill blacks. To even call the police in the black community is attempted suicide by police. And in this case, successful suicide, not even attempted. But they came, and they don't understand criminals and crime scenes. They understand black and white. They understand black threat and white safety. That's all they understand. That's all they conceptualize. And they're there to eradicate the threat, exterminate the threat, and the true threat to white supremacy and the institutions of white supremacy of which they fear is the black man and woman. They police our neighborhoods with the fear of blackness itself. They're not there to protect any black people, secure any black people. They're there to protect the white establishment from black people and quarantine all of their fears of the black race within particular areas. And that's their policing at best. So when they came up on this black woman allegedly yielding a knife, these cops were cowards. They were unable to disarm her, use a stun gun. Nah, that's not a part of their protocol. That's not a part of their policy. What they're supposed to do is anyone that's black who can ever potentially become a threat or recognize themselves as a threat or getting to the level of appearing as a threat need to be exterminated and taken out, period. That's their first priority. Understand this. Then the threat must be eliminated wherever and whenever and however it could be identified. And the threat is black people who take on any defensive posture, whether it's self-defense, any posture whatsoever, any type of weapon, any type of self-security, take them out. Because if we truly get into self-security and self-defense, in the consciousness of that, we'll realize who our real enemy is. And they know eventually we'll end up dealing with their ass. We'll end up handling them. We'll end up paying them back for what they did to us. will recognize that these institutions do not work for us. These institutions do not represent us. And we will start to take their ass out. They understand that. So they must exterminate the threats before they grow into magnitude, into great proportions. So they get out of hand. So you're not supposed to secure yourself at all if you're black. When the police come, you should be in submission. They're your only security. If you're about securing yourself, you are a threat to them because they are definitely a threat to you, and they recognize that. So any posture of security is a threat to the institutions of white supremacy because you're supposed to be docile and just depend on them and bow down to them. And if you got any warrior spirit in you, you must be exterminated, even if it's under the auspices of defending yourself. That's why the stand your ground argument doesn't work for black people, because you can't stand no damn ground. You don't have any damn ground. You a second class citizen. You a slave, subject, property. You don't have no stand your ground. If black people start standing their ground even against blacks, they're going to be looked at as a threat by the white man. Don't take no power, law, or security into your own hands. So she called the institutions of white supremacy, which is the first mistake, to call your oppressor and your enemy. But when we're unconscious and we're ignorant and we're not aware of who your enemy is, and we love our slave masters and we don't want to let go of the pipe dream or the fantasy about them being there for us and servicing us, here to serve and protect and law and order, and we buy into all that bullshit. And we call our murderers, we call our hunters to us to take care of us, to execute us, and to kill us. The first mistake she made was to call any institution of white supremacy. It was attempted burglary. The burglar was gone. We have to find alternative situations and solutions to solving our problems, and even alternative perspectives to looking at these problems in a way where they don't turn us against one another. Because the burglar just wanted a few items, probably hungry, probably a drug addict, probably someone that was trapped in a mindset of materialism that's been propagated heavily among the poor within the black communities. So this whole thing about this burglar, there was a lot to go along with that. This was somebody who had been demonized and not able to be looked at from any other perspective, but as far as being a burglar. And he just wanted a few items, whatever. Wrong house, trying to get some material. But why the burglar wanted a few items out of the house or something that he saw as valuable, the police wanted her fucking life. As she appeared to be a warrior goddess or a threat. As she appeared to be an empowered black woman that was willing to defend herself, the burglar wanted a few items. The police wanted her life, her death certificate. They wanted her life as a trophy that they're doing their job of exterminating black people in the black community. That's why there will be no justice for Philando Castile. There'll be no justice for him because the officer did his job. If you think you're getting any power or any security or any energy about yourself, you are the problem, not the burglar. See, they look at all these crimes as petty. They lock these people up, let them go. Get them public defenders. All these crimes are petty. They don't look at it serious. It's just paperwork. It's just processing. But if you're willing to stand up and defend yourself as a black man and black woman in today's society, that is the true crime. That is the crime that is worthy of death. That is the crime that is worthy of execution. That is the crime in which you are guilty before proven innocent. Guilty before proven guilty. All the other crimes are petty, burglary, whatever, community service, whatever. But defending yourself, having a spirit to fight. Now that deserves capital punishment on the spot. What's worse than us calling the institutions of white supremacy, i.e. 911, any of them? What's worse than them is us having the values and the narratives and the perspectives of our situation that those institutions have, that makes us work for the institutions subconsciously that actually work against us, that are actually against us. So that's even worse than calling them that our value system is consistent with those that are out to destroy us, that don't want to see us flourish and progress, that see us as a threat, that see our numbers and our expansion and our increase in our population as a threat. That's even worse than calling them, is that our value system is consistent with them and we believe we're one with an institution that's against us, to the fact that we call them to join and align with them against our own people. And when we call them, they come to mow us down. They come to kill us and shoot us down. And many of you gonna go out and yell Black Lives Matter after this situation. But while you rally standing toe to toe and hand in hand with Becky and Bob and Susie, with white people talking about Black Lives Matter, speaking truth to power, talking about fry them pigs. You saying people are going to go back to your black communities and back to your black neighborhoods. And some of you wouldn't dare go to a real black neighborhood, a real black community outside of some political protests or political agenda. But some of you all will go back to your black communities and black neighborhoods filled with black self-hate, and you'll call that same number 911. You'll call those same institutions of white supremacy against black. That a lot of times you say Black Lives Matter. The best way to demonstrate and implement and illustrate Black Lives Matter is not calling these devils. It's not calling these pigs no more. It's not calling these institutions of white supremacy. That's one of the best ways to boycott them. Boycott the police. Boycott the institutions of white supremacy. Stop calling them. Stop supporting them. Stop believing and supporting their system. And some of you think there's justice within the system because you'll be like Trayvon, I think it's Trayvon mom's and husband getting a settlement, or Mike Brown's mother and father getting a settlement for his death. There's no settlement for black death. No such thing. That is so evil that taxpayers pay their taxes and people are extorted for tickets and petty crimes and getting pulled over and extorted by the police. And what is their money being used for? The taxpayer is paying for black death. We're paying for the police. We're paying Mike Brown's mother and father. We're paying the lawsuits. It's coming out of the taxpayers' money. So once you sue the police department, hey, they don't have the money. Where they gonna get the money from? Where their quota season got to go back up. They got to raise those quotas. And if they got to raise those quotas, that means they got to pull over more black people and shoot them dead. That means there's more harassment and more stop and frisk. And there's more black people being locked up and arrested over petty crimes because they have to make money for their municipality because they constantly being sued, and somebody got to pay the lawsuits. It won't be the cop that committed the murder. It won't be the cop that was a racist, hateful pig. He won't pay for it. The very black community who pay taxes, who've been extorted by the police department and the institutions of white supremacy, will be the one to have to pay the bill, have to foot the bill. Ain't no settlement. They laughing. They laughing all the way because it ain't even on them. They can shoot you down cold blood and then make the very community that they shot you in make them pay for it through extortion, through ticket quotas, citations. I had to go in on this. We got to let go of the institutions of white supremacy altogether. Stop calling the devil. Stop calling these numbers, these agencies, and these institutions. They do not represent you. That is not their goal. That is not their objective. They are out to get you and kill you. Whatever they can't quarantine, whatever they can't make submit, docile, passive, surrender, they out to kill and exterminate. And that's a part of their job. They have a license to kill. And that license is being used to kill pregnant black women now, pregnant black goddesses. How many pregnant white women have been murdered and shot in cold blood in front of their children? Who do they have a license to kill? Look at this beautiful woman and her family. They got to go on without their mother now. Stop calling these devils. They are against you. Recognize who the devil is. Recognize that these institutions are against you. And not only that, lose the narrative and the value system that will make you cooperate and work with the institutions and forces that really are against you. Because if you agree with them and your ideology and your values is consistent with them, actually, you against yourself. And your people, because you must believe in the prison industrial complex. You must believe in that. You have to believe in prison as a new form of slavery as a black person if you keep dialing that number. You have to believe in capital punishment on the spot if you keep calling that number. That's a hell of a price to pay for believing in the institutions of your enemy. This King Noble Black Supremacy. Join my website, www.kingnobleuncensored.com. Donate, don't hate. Follow me on Instagram, kingnobleuncensored.com on Instagram. Subscribe to my new YouTube page, King Noble Guru. Subscribe now. Black Supremacy.